This is just going to be a short orientation video for the building materials assignment. You build some cabinets and you've got the dimensions you need. Basically, I've just told you how many pieces you need to cut and your options. And if you really go to a lumber store like Lowe's or Home Depot, somewhere like that, A4 lumber, you're going to have the option of 8 to 12 foot boards. That's how it works. And you need to figure out what's most cost efficient because 8 foot boards are cheaper than 12 foot. And we're going to have to cut these things in different lengths and see what happens. So what I'm really recommending to y'all is to sketch everything out. I'm sure you could come up with some sort of like math algorithm, but you're probably talking about algebra, pre-calc level stuff. I don't even do that when I do this stuff in real life. I always just sketch it out, see what happens. And usually I'll just kind of do different ways. What if I cut this board this way, or maybe try different ways, different amounts, and just see what comes out to be most efficient. So just kind of trial and error your way through it. That's what I always do when I do this kind of stuff in real life. And I build stuff with boards all the time, so this is something that might happen for real. So here's an 8 foot board. Here's kind of where to start. 8 foot, how many inches is that? All right, and same thing for 12 feet. How many inches is that? All right. Now you can figure that out. I'm not going to give that to you. That's something you can figure out. But that's going to be pretty important because what I'm giving you here, these are in inches, 30-inch pieces, 65-inch pieces, 27-inch pieces. So you really need to know how many inches are in each board so you can cut it. Those of you that do this stuff for real or have experience with it, you know that when you cut, you lose about 1/8 of an inch per board. I'm not worried about all that, so don't get too, if you want to, that's great, but I'm not getting that technical with everything. But that's the idea. Go through, if I need to get, 30-inch boards, I need 8 30-inch boards. So let's just see what happens if I cut, all right, here's 30 inches, and then 30 inches, and then just kind of go down the line and just see what you have left. Now, I did some problems like this where you cut pieces of boards and you had to see what was left over and how to do the math on that, so go back and look if you forgot. But that's sort of the idea there. Now the next part, for building cabinets, we need once we have the framework, we need to cover the frame with some boards. It's called sheathing, and I use those words here. So I give you all the dimensions you need. You need 2 sides on the cabinet, 30 inches tall, 27 inches wide. You need a back in the cabinet. This will be the same as the sides, 30 inches tall, 65 inches wide. And then the bottom, like the floor of the cabinet, needs to span the length, so 65 inches, and be the same as the width of all. Hopefully all that makes sense. If not, that's, at least you got the dimensions. They're written out here. It does tell you you need 2 sides on it. Here's what they look like. And if you're thinking about this practically, I don't have a top because I'm probably going to put a countertop on it, and I don't have a front because I'm probably going to put doors on the front. So that would kind of be more technicalities that we're just not going to get into in this problem. So that's what you need, 2 sides, a back and a bottom. There's what they look like. Here are the dimensions. Those dimensions are also on the pieces, so use all that. And when you go to draw it out, start with what a sheet of plywood is going to look like. Typically you buy a 4x8 sheet, but there's some other options. You can get 2x2, which is pretty small. You can get a 2x4, which is one of these cut in half. They're a lot more expensive. I mean, 2x2 piece is almost half the price of a 4x8. So I won't get into all those dimensions, but anyway, that's kind of what you're going to play around with. What sizes do you need? It's the most efficient way to do this to save us, or uses the perfect amount of lumber that saves you the most money or costs the least possible. So the same approach as with the boards. If this is a 4x8 sheet, then how many inches is that? And the reason I'm saying do that is because these are, of course, in inches. So now you just start kind of messing around with, all right, well, this is 27, this is 30. What else can I maybe cut out of this piece? And just start playing around. And you might draw something that doesn't quite work, and you got to start over. Do it to scale as best you can. Just make sure that it works. That's the main thing. Just if you've got 100 inches here and another 100 inches here, and it's probably not realistic. So just check the numbers, make sure they work out. And that's kind of the idea. Just need to sketch it around and play with it and see what happens, and come up with the most cost-efficient way to do this.